Hey class, moving on now to chapter 1, section 2, economics. Make sure that you turn your Adam Smith tuner in. And today I want to talk a little about opportunity costs and trade-offs. So when we get to the first thing, we talk about actually purchasing something, we're making a trade-off, okay? So whatever we trade one thing for another, if you think about a bartering system, I'm trading my shirt for your socks or whatever it may be, that would be a trade-off. I'm giving up my shirt in order to get the socks. So a trade-off is literally exchanging one thing for another when it comes to economics. And the most simple example is your money in order to buy an iPhone. So we make trade-offs every day, determining about how much something is worth to you and whether you should make that trade-off is going to be up to you. And that is going to be a choice that you make coming from the last section here. The next thing that we get into is opportunity cost. When you make that decision, that choice to make a trade-off, you have to think about the opportunity cost. Okay? Time is a scarce resource. When you choose to study economics for an hour, what's the next best thing that you are giving up? Well, when I usually do this in my class and I talk about opportunity costs, the next best thing they give up is some of them would rather be sleeping. Some of you cyber kids are probably sleeping, just woke up, or you're giving up a job, or you're giving up going steady with Jim or Jane, or whatever it may be. Okay, you're always giving up something for another thing. So if you're to play a varsity sport, you might giving up spending time with your boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay, so you're going to be able to spend less time with them, or getting a job. You might get a job instead of playing a varsity sport. So those are all the next best value of things. So you can always think of the trade-off for buying an iPhone is money, but the trade-off, the opportunity cost in order to get the money was working for 10 hours that day. Okay, so that's the opportunity cost. All right. Whatever you consider the next best alternative for coming to class is known as the opportunity cost. You're giving up to be here. Individuals and families make trade-offs every day. Obviously, we spend our money on certain things. We have funds. We have budgets, which I'll teach you how to do here coming up. But businesses must also consider trade-offs, which I was talking about in section 1, when they choose to invest funds or hire workers to produce a good rather than another. Example, suppose Congress chooses to invest $220 billion to finance new highways. Well, Congress could have voted for an increased spending on medical research. So the opportunity cost of building a new highway is medical research. The trade-off for the money that they're giving, the $222 billion to finance new highways, is literally the $220 billion to finance the new highways, new highways. The production possibilities curve. Many businesses produce more than one type of product. The automobile industry may produce several makes of cars. Okay? What this means is the company produces a combination of goods, which results in opportunity costs for the business. Meaning a production possibilities curve basically shows businesses what they should and should not produce at any point in time. And I'm going to show you an example here of what a production possibilities curve is. The actual example of a production possibilities curve is it shows the maximum combination of goods and services that can be produced from a fixed amount of resources in a given time period. Okay, so how much money do we have? The federal government has $220 billion. Well, $110 billion is going to be put towards medical research, and $110 is going to be put towards new highways. If you're making a production possibilities curve between medical research and new highways, there would be a dot on that curve right in the middle. Okay, now what the production possibilities curve would show that. The curve also helps determine how much of an item to produce. This also reveals the trade-offs and opportunity costs in each decision. So if we produce all highways, then we're getting no medical research. The opportunity cost is being shown. Okay? Here's an example. The classic civilian versus military example is known as guns versus butter. And this is the military, this is what the government uses. So wherever the dot falls on the production possibilities curve, okay, determines what the government is deciding to spend at this point in time. This can be for anything. This was Joe McLean High School, and we had books over here with iPads, and we had if this was in the hundreds, we had 600 books or 600 iPads. we would be somewhere down here right now because we're not producing a lot of books. Every student has an iPad. Okay. It would show the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost for giving up is that we're not going to produce any books. Okay. Down here on this line. So the guns versus butter is the military and civilian example that is used within the federal government for civilian and military goods. Guns versus butter. Here it is. Production of military goods, guns, and civilian goods, butter. The extreme would be produced all military goods or civilian goods. We saw this during World War II when the War Productions Board went from all civilian goods because of the Great Depression. All of our social welfare programs produced by Franklin D. Roosevelt and the New Deal was all towards civilian, putting money back in, creating jobs for the civilians. All of a sudden we went to World War II and all that stuff shifted and all the factories shifted to producing war materials, right? So we shifted our production possibilities curve. All of a sudden went boom, boom, one way civilian, and then it went all the way down in a matter of months to producing all military goods. It's what's won us the war. Whatever the point, the country chooses on the production curve line, the opportunity cost is the amount of resources given up to produce the other resource. The government, Congress and the President decide where on the production line to produce each type of good. They collect revenue from the citizens through taxes, through the House Ways and Means Committee, and we know how we get that from our government section. And then we decide how to use these things on the production curve, okay? How do we use them, where we're going to put them to. We're going to put them into business. We're going to put them into social welfare programs, whatever it may be. Nations and the presidents must take into consideration political and social concerns of citizens when moving along the production line. The PPC, Production Possibilities Curve, only helps businesses, nations, and industries determine what to produce. Like I said, it can help Walker Brothers to figure out what to produce during certain times of the year, meaning, like I said, from the section 1, they're not going to produce all Corvettes during the winter. They're going to go through SUVs and trucks. And then when the winter comes, they might back off on the production line and produce more summer cars, more regular cars. Okay, so businesses use the production possibilities curves as well as the nation uses the production possibilities curve. What I want you to do now is I want you to do chapter 1, if I can find it here. Okay, on Schoology, you can do chapter 1, section 2 Q&A, and you can use the book, which I'm going to upload on here for you. Go to chapter 1, section 2, or you can use your PowerPoint that I just went over and kind of answer the questions from that. Make sure that these aren't complete sentences and answer them fully. And this is going to be worth 12 points as well. So make sure you do a good job on this and answer these questions in complete sentences and then turn this into me in the Dropbox. All right, guys, have a good day. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll see you tomorrow.